On Friday, April 12th, Disney and Lucasfilm finally showed us our very first look at the teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, titled The Rise of Skywalker. So we're gonna jump straight into this, and I'll run through my analysis of the teaser trailer first, and at the end give my opinion about it all, plus along with some bonus material as well. Now the first scene we're presented to is Rey in her brand new white outfit, looking distressed and alone on some kind of desert planet. It could be Jakku, Tatooine, or even Jeddah, or just an entirely new desert planet in general. But based on the movie leaks, this scene should take place sometime around near the end of the movie. We also get a good look at a reconstructed lightsaber, which now has a more sleeker design around the hilt area. I'm curious on whether we'll actually get to see the process she undergoes to do this, or at the very least hear about it. In addition to that, we also see her blaster pistol from The Force Awakens make a return here as well, which based on other material, we know she will be forced to use this in battle. In the distance, we see some kind of TIE fighter flying pretty low to the ground and straight at Rey. Again, it's obvious here that Rey is alone and she has no cover or anywhere to hide. She's going to have to deal with the situation on her own in order to survive. This shot here leads us to believe that it comes from the interior of that said TIE fighter. And based on the gloves, it looks like it's Kylo Ren piloting it. However, I personally think this is a misdirection, and rather this is a shot from an entirely different scene altogether, and merely slapped on here to confuse us. And I'll explain why soon. This next one is a pretty sweet shot of Rey turning around and igniting her lightsaber. But other than just looking cool, this shows us that her reconstructed lightsaber is now working perfectly, as we don't see any sparks or an untamed laser coming from her lightsaber like we do with Kylo Ren's. At first, it looks like Rey starts to try and maybe outrun the TIE fighter, which of course we all know would be impossible. But now we start to get a better look at this new TIE, and while it's still not in the perfect distance, it does start to resemble more of a TIE interceptor than the normal TIE fighter. And also, strangely enough, it's not blasting at her at all. That TIE interceptor starts to get closer and closer to Rey, and from here we can actually get a pretty good view of it, which shows quite a bit of different red elements on it. Rey then attempts to do a backflip with her lightsaber ignited, and we're led to believe here that she'll try to slice through this TIE. But looking at the TIE itself, it seems to me like it's a combination of a TIE interceptor and Kylo Ren's ship, the TIE Silencer from The Last Jedi. Now, it's perfectly possible that this could very well be Kylo's new ship in The Rise of Skywalker. As we know, he does get a new ship here too. However, I personally think this may be possibly the TIE Echelon that we heard about, which is the new type of ship that the Red Fury fly in the movie. And based on the red elements on this TIE, that's why I'm led to believe this is the case. Not to mention, I think Kylo's new ship was already leaked in the Galaxy's Edge material, and this looks nothing like that. Besides, I don't think Kylo would die here either, unlike a normal Red Fury grunt. We're next taken to some kind of ship flying on a new planet, which shows a bunch of snowy mountains and some kind of city atop of them. And based on the leaks, this is the snow planet we heard about Rey and gang traveling to, which is also incredibly likely that's who's on this ship too that we see here. This shot seems to be part of the First Order and the Resistance battle that takes place on the new unnamed jungle planet. At first glance, it seems that Kylo is striking down a Resistance soldier with his laser crossguard. However, when we take a closer look at it, it actually seems to resemble more of a Knight of Ren than a Resistance soldier, especially with the weapon he's holding. The leaks do tell us that the Knights are present in this battle, and there were rumors that they tried to overthrow Kylo some point during the movie, so it's possible that could happen during this exact battle. We also get to see what looks to be another Knight of Ren in the background, running towards Kylo, who just downed that first Knight we saw in the other shot. But what's very interesting here is that the First Order Stormtrooper seems to be on Kylo's side and aiming at the Knight. I mean, it shouldn't be of any surprise, the Stormtroopers would obviously side and stay loyal to their supreme leader, as of course, what reason would they have to listen to the Knights of Ren? But I don't know, it's an interesting shot nonetheless. If anything, I think the Knights chose this battle as the perfect opportunity to double-cross Kylo while he's busy fighting the Resistance. But that plan probably doesn't pan out as expected. There were also plenty of leaks stating that Kylo would get his helmet back, having it be reforged, and we actually see the process of that here. But it's of course someone else doing the reforging and not Kylo himself. And based on the furry hands here, I think this is most likely the monkey-like alien that Kylo meets in the leaked scene involving some kind of dark castle. Most likely this monkey doesn't even work for the First Order and Kylo just comes to visit him to make him fix his helmet. Finn and Poe seem to be present on the unnamed desert planet as well. We knew this would be the case from the leaks, where the Resistance travel to the planet and fight the First Order a second time. It also looks like Finn has a new weapon, being Rey's staff from The Force Awakens. We get to see BB-8 and the new droid Dio here in what seems to be some kind of garage of sorts. According to the leaks, this location should be the droid factory that takes place on the snowy planet. Dio is supposedly here to help Rey and the gang in some way, but also befriends BB-8 in the process. I really like this next scene as it shows Lando back on the Millennium Falcon doing a hyperspace run, and of Chewbacca being his co-pilot this time around. I think this is the fourth time we've seen Chewie co-pilot the Falcon with someone different in the sequel trilogy. First of Old Han, then Rey, and then of course a Porg, well if you can count that, and now Lando. Also, it's no surprise as we saw in the leaked images, but Lando is wearing an outfit that is reminiscent of the one worn in Solo: A Star Wars Story. Regardless, I think it's pretty cool to see Lando back, and it looks like he'll actually have a little bit of a bigger role than we initially had thought. We're then taken back to the desert planet, with the gang escaping the First Order on what looks to be on a skiff of some kind. In the back we see an explosion and the First Order chasing them on a speeder bike. I think it's safe to say that this will be the movie's speeder bike chase scene equivalent from Return of the Jedi, but with a twist. While we don't get the most clearest of looks, it does seem like this is some kind of First Order jetpack trooper. The design itself doesn't resemble that of the First Order jetpack trooper from Battlefront 2, so it's most likely a completely new design made just for the movie. We get a better look here of the gang on the skiff while attempting to escape from the First Order. Poe, Finn, and C-3PO are all present here, while Rey isn't. It's likely Rey is elsewhere on the planet at this point, and maybe taking on that lone tide that we saw in the shot from earlier in the trailer. Next, we see an extremely short clip of what it looks to be a Resistance A-Wing going up against a large vessel, possibly in the atmosphere of the desert planet. As once again, we do know from the leaks that the First Order and the Resistance will be fighting each other on this planet. And it seems like this vessel is actually an Imperial 1 Star Destroyer, based on the communications tower and bridge in this quick shot, which is incredibly strange. For starters, we know the First Order had some Imperial Star Destroyers in its fleet, but those are all version 2 and upgraded as well. Meanwhile, this is a version 1 Star Destroyer from A New Hope. So just the timeline alone, this ship is severely dated and out of place. My thinking is that this ship could be either part of a lost Imperial remnant fleet, or maybe one specifically dedicated to the Red Fury, as it does seem to have some kind of red element on it as well. Either way, very strange stuff. Then again, it could also be a flashback from the Battle of Jakku for all we know. Next we see what could be Leia holding someone's medal from the throne room ceremony scene from A New Hope. Personally, I think this is Han's medal and she's probably holding it while remembering or thinking about him, as I don't really see any reason why she would be holding Luke's medal, or why she would even have his medal in the first place. After that, we see Leia on screen embracing Rey, which looks to be quite an emotional moment. Based on the background, this could very well be also on the Jungle Planet, and before or after the Resistance do fight the First Order. I also have to say that the way they reused this unused footage from The Force Awakens looks incredible and very believable. The best I can describe it is that they actually digitally copy and pasted Leia and put her in these new Rise of the Skywalker scenes. Here's actually the alternative take of the shot from The Force Awakens. And as you can see, them using this footage in the Rise of the Skywalker seems absolutely seamless. Lastly, we get this scene of Chewie, BB-8, Dio, 3PO, Finn, Poe, and Rey on some kind of grassy plains. There's also a lot of speculation surrounding where exactly they are, but the most sense would be the forest moon of Endor. This is because we next see what looks to be a piece of the Death Star in the water. Rey also seems to be holding some kind of breathing or scuba gear that would mean that she intends on swimming into the ruins of the Death Star in hopes of finding the MacGuffin of the movie. Now, I personally do think that this is Endor, as we have to remember, yes, the forest moon of Endor was mostly a forest, but it did also have oceans on it as well, so this could very well be one of those oceans. And I also want to point out that the Force Awakens concept art had the gang originally venture to an underwater Death Star, but that was ultimately an idea scrapped from the movie. However, with that said, it seems that JJ has brought that idea back for Episode 9, especially if this other concept art from The Force Awakens, which shows a woman scuba diving around the underwater Death Star, and that woman could very likely be Rey. Finally, we see the title screen of the movie, and as well the sinister and unmistakable laughter of Emperor Palpatine himself, laughing on a screen that's faded to black, which is nothing short of chilling. We don't know as of right now what Palpatine's role in the movie will be, whether he'll be some kind of spirit haunting the Death Star, the new threat from the beyond, or maybe a resurrected being or a clone, I don't know. But one thing that is for certain is that he will be in the movie, and that's one of the most exciting parts about it all. Lastly, we also have a few other shots that I wanted to talk about. These of course aren't from the trailer, but were shown at Celebration just before the Episode 9 panel. And well, they're really interesting to say the least. First is what looks to be inside some kind of First Order ship, with Daisy Ridley on set. And this could very well be the scene described by the leaks, on where Rey gets on board Kylo's ship and fights him in the final battle. Next is the Rebel blockade runner on the jungle planet, where Rey and gang travel to find 3PO's old memory. Based on the looks of this blockade runner, it does seem to be exactly the Tantive 4, which we all know was captured by the Empire in The New Hope. So how it wound up getting onto this jungle planet is anyone's guess. And well, that's what I'm really curious to find out. And just like the leaks did tell us, Rey and the gang do venture onto that jungle planet, as shown by this official image by J.J. Abrams during the Episode 9 panel, all in the search of 3PO's old memory. Last but not least is this quick shot of Kylo Ren staring onto something during a sunset on a desert planet, considering there are no mountains in the background of this shot, and we know that the Lars homestead was filmed for Episode 9, then this could possibly be Kylo visiting Luke's old home and staring at the binary sunset. Then again, he's alive here, and that's said to be the ending of the movie, so yeah, even more questions for us to dangle through here. Now there's quite a lot for us to digest after this teaser trailer, and thankfully to the Storybeat leaks, we do have at least some kind of idea of the direction where this movie will be headed. And if you want to learn more about this, then I recommend checking out the video I made all about that. It's pretty much all the important story beats from Episode 9, start to finish, although even then it's still incomplete in some areas as evidence of this trailer. But it should still help in answering some of your questions as, like I said, at this point we've got more questions than actual answers. I'm personally feeling pretty optimistic about the Rise of Skywalker, which I know I'm gonna have to get used to calling it that than just Episode 9. But stay tuned to this channel, as I know we're not only gonna be covering new leaks for Episode 9, but some pretty juicy theories and speculations alike. If that's your thing, then definitely hit the subscribe button. As always, be sure to like and share this video, as well to keep it here to Silo for everything on the latest in Star Wars. N7 from Silo, signing out.